Kristen. Everybody else, I think, is associated with MBIA at
Kristen
this
is as
point. So
well.
we've got. Oh,
Kristen's
okay.
with MBIA as well.
Okay. So you all to ourselves, Hillary, at the moment.
Wonderful. Well, you guys
Hey.
do great projects, so I look forward to
Oh,
hearing your
thanks.
spiel.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, I didn't really prep too much of a spiel because I didn't know how many people would be here and who to tailor to. I didn't want to just do some presentation and half the people didn't care about it. So I guess we're gonna start just saying a quick word. My name's Jim Riviello. I'm a partner here at the Martin Architectural Group. I've been here my entire career. We do a lot of work in the Maryland, DC area. And so, we've been very active at MBIA over the years and going to the builder shows and that sort of thing. Kim is our business development director, and she lives in Baltimore and works out of our Baltimore office. So, we primarily focus on home builders and private developers. We're actually started doing a little bit of public work, but that's our focus. So, I have some slides I can show, but if Hillary, if you wouldn't mind kind of introducing yourself, because I don't know who you are really. I don't know if I've met you in the past or not in passing.
Yeah.
And we can talk about maybe, what your needs are and what you're looking to get out of this.
Great. I was actually looking to get out of it some of your interesting project images, because you guys always do nice ones. I work for a large landowner in Laurel, Maryland, named Caleb Gould, and we are working on a project called Conterra, which is a 12 million foot mixed-use town center concept. We were partnered up with Forest City, Washington before the last implosion. And they reduced their staff by 1,200 people, sold all their retail assets, and did not develop any new projects after that point that were retail focused that they didn't already have in their pipeline. So we parted on good terms and parted. And then we worked for almost a decade with Westfield. And then Westfield was bought out by Unibail-Rodamco, and they said, we're not doing any new projects. So it's been a nice decade that we've been doing 40 million versions of your plan, but see you later. And again, we left on good terms. I'm being a little bit sarcastic, but many people will say, well, I've heard about Conterra for decades, and it's very true. We were all the way past conceptual site plan in the late 80s with a company called Taubman, who turned out really just to be toying with us so that they could open Arundel Mills. And then we got all the way to the finish line with Forest City, and the economy tanked. Nobody could have predicted that. I mean, many people did predict it, but nobody expected it to be quite as bad as it was. And then with Westfield, we had multiple queued up the county exec for announcements and all the rest of it. And, then they, behind the scenes have been working on this Unibail-Rodamco thing. So they're now going to, focus on their better performing centers, and they're not doing any out of the ground that I'm aware of, at least in our market. So we now have this beautifully entitled piece of ground in Laurel, Maryland, with all sorts. I bet I have 70, 80 versions of plans for it, maybe more.
Sure.
As I'm sure you've done on many a town center project. And we actually had whoever your principal that's very colorful come in.
Yeah, Charles Harker.
Yes.
I would say we've done some work on this project over the years.
Yes, you
I've
have.
heard the name, but I haven't been personally involved. Yeah.
So, and so what I do for them, and I'm also on the board of MBIA, and I'm going to be the president in a couple of years. So I'm trying to meet more people.
Great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And what I do for my day job is I get entitlements on these properties, and I reclaim old sand and gravel mines, because one of the other things we have in our family of businesses is aggregate companies that sell, road construction rocks and things like that. And so they sell all the rocks, and then I reclaim it and make it ready to develop on and get the entitlements for it. And we have a sister company called Conterra Realty that usually does the vertical development. We've done a couple housing projects in Laurel, Villages at Wellington, we did with Corin Development, and then NV Ryan Caruso. And we did Wilshire Estates with Caruso. So that's about 600 executive level homes in Laurel. But then my boss's dad came in and said, young lady, they don't make more land. we're not selling any
Mhm.
more lots, and we haven't
Yeah.
since then. But he's now gone on in life to heaven or wherever we go in his
Mhm.
90s. So the kids are running the business now, and we're starting to look at
Yeah.
actually selling some lots, and we actually
Mhm.
sold some land this year, which I hadn't seen us have an appetite for, but we got such an amazing
Sure.
offer on a property that we had in Anne Arundel County that we sold it. So,
That's
you have
great.
any
Yeah.
questions now that I've done my spiel?
Oh, no, actually not at the moment. I'll look into it a little more. So what, so what would you like to know from us? Or you have any questions of us, or I'm
I
just
have
trying to
a
think how I can
question.
help you. Obviously, sure, go ahead.
I
Kim.
have a question to Hillary, because you do focus on retail centered, so it's residential retail, just like us. I mean, that's our two main focuses. And like you said, you've seen a number of projects that we've done. So I'm wondering whether whether to your benefit, like Jim said at the beginning, we didn't know who was going to be on the phone and what their needs are and what their interests and what they want to look at. So, I mean, I'm just questioning whether you want to look at single family residential or whatever, whether you'd rather see some of our multifamily, maybe some of the retail and residential that we've done together.
I would like to see some of your retail and residential that you've done together. I'd like to see multifamily. Conterra Town Center has 4,500 residential units. 3,640 of those are multifamily. They will be about half for sale and half for rent, depending on where they're located in the project, because the core of the project, which is where the downtown retail environment was meant to be, there's 16 blocks there on about 130 acres. And that, we want to be all rental, because we want to control the core as best we can, so that we don't have a big nightmare when we have to do renovations and things like that. But I'm always interested in sort of lessons learned, interesting projects that you're working on in the area, places that you would recommend I go look at your website for. And of course, I need to go get a pad if you're going to actually write this down. But Kim will follow up, I'm sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
we can-
okay.
Yeah.
Do we have
So
anybody
let's
else
see here.
so that I'm not hogging everything? Ooh.
Well, I just popped a screen share. I took 24 marketing pieces and just kind of a little bit of everything just to walk through. I mean, this was a clubhouse up in Connecticut. We're doing with a residential developer who's developing apartments. And again, the clubhouses, even with a rental, even up there in Connecticut, we're doing resort style amenities. It's really that the pools is really nice. The clubhouse is really nice. A lot of good amenities, more than you'd expect for, an average apartment project.
So this is just for an apartment project that you did that. And do you think that's going to change because of COVID?
We haven't talked about that yet. No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that, we develop a lot of open spaces within there. And then what you do is you try to divide that up into smaller group spaces. So you can sit there and do some work or whatever activity you want, and still kind of, have a wide open space and see people, but you're kind of separated anyway. So I think people separate themselves, and this isn't going to last forever. I don't know what permanent changes it's necessarily going to make, other than maybe people may start thinking less about moving to the city and more into the suburbs, but, time will tell, see how much that happens, really.
Well, I found it interesting this summer. My local pool opened up at limited capacity, and you had to pre-register and you had to do all kinds of things. And the attendance was just horrible compared to how many people usually go. And I think people are just afraid.
I would agree. Yeah. For understanding, there's probably 3 different levels of risk tolerance. People just doing nothing, people venturing out a little bit, and people just, they don't care. I think most people are in the middle, to be honest with you, from what I observe. So I don't know a lot about this particular project. This is a little, I thought it was just a nice looking graphic of a town center design. Main Street design with retail and
I
residential.
didn't
in the
realize
back.
you guys had
We've-
worked on that project, truthfully, so I'm
We-
glad
you
you
know,
shared
we-
it.
Still are.
Yeah, over the years, we work on a lot of different,
Mhm.
yeah.
So Hillary, just
It just,
that project, I'm
ahead.
sorry, it's kind of
you want
hard.
to go
I
back?
try to fill in with one another for a bit. So this one we're currently still working on and have been for a long while, but we've got a number of projects the same way. It's just like the Village at Wall Chapel. We have a great video fly through. We call it the Miracle Mile. We've been working on that for 20 years from the beginning. So, and we're still working on that, and not just with, we started with, I believe, and Jim, you can correct me, Greenberg Gibbons, but like our most
Correct.
recent finished projects there are, well, the most recent was with Bizzuto doing the multifamily, that was the Monarch, right?
Yeah, that's right. The Monarch,
Yeah,
the apartment
Monarch.
project. Correct.
Which just finished up last June. And on the other side of it, it was flanked by, now see that I'm going to screw this up. I forgot the name of that one over there on the other side. What residential project was that? Also Bizzuto.
Wall Chapel Town Center, it was called.
No, the other residential multifamily unit. It's almost like,
Oh, well, yeah, it was on the other side of Wall Chapel Road. It was Carroll's Creek, it was called. It's a condominium project. Originally was developed by, oh, geez, now I'm forgetting. Pulte ended up taking it over at one point and finished it.
and I'm actually even talking about another residential project that we did that's like right there in the whole footprint of it. Like the Monarch is, if you're facing Wall Chapel Town Center, the Monarch is on the left, and this other, I'm going brain dead. I can't remember the name of the residential.
No,
It's
Sturbridge Homes developed it. I don't recall the name either, but it's a condominium project.
Yeah, okay.
Wall Chapel, yeah. So I see we have another guest with us, Mr. Burke from Elm Street Development. How you
Hello.
doing, sir?
Good. How about you?
Hi. Doing well, doing well. Hillary Contreras has been on the phone with us. She was describing her business a little bit. We were just starting to go through some of our marketing materials. We didn't really have anything specific we were trying to hit. I don't know if, I'd like to ask you, Jude, if, you have any expectations you're hoping to learn something from this, or any questions of us?
Not necessarily, just networking, seeing what you guys are doing. I've been to Woodmore Town Center quite a bit, and I think that's a great layout and design, and have driven through Wall Chapel a few times. That's a nice project too.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we were just talking about Wall Chapel. Yeah. So, here's an example of an apartment project we designed. This one's in New Jersey. This was a little unique in that we had a 2-story clubhouse amenity on this particular project, which was a little different, but this actually had a basketball court in it, part of it. It's a pretty interesting project.
How many square feet in that clubhouse?
Oh gosh, I don't remember. It's been a while. I thought it was 60 by 60 or 60 by 40, something like that. It's not, well, this is probably, actually, I'm not sure if this is the one that had the basketball court or not, but we did 2 stories at a basketball court, like a half court in it. I thought it was this one, but now I'm thinking about looking at the size of it, it may not have been this one.
Did they go with 2-story for the clubhouse just because of the size of the site, not having room to do bigger? Or
I believe that was the issue. I
Okay.
believe that was the issue. This wasn't my project. I wasn't involved with it day to day, this particular one. This was a Trammell Crow development. We do a lot of clubhouses. This is an example of a clubhouse. Unfortunately, I really loved it. Bishop's Landing was developed by Beazer Homes. They ended up going with a less expensive clubhouse. Ultimately, they reused something that they had used before. but we were doing a shingle style. It's really fun as an architect when, you know, the builders we work with actually have this particular style they like us to design to. It's fun to get to do that. This is an example of some stacked townhouse projects we do. This is up in Philadelphia. I did, this is actually probably over 10 years old, this particular one. It just basically took a whole city block, and there's actually, the townhome buildings line the block, and inside the block, we also had a couple of strips of townhomes as well, and a green space.
Why are you calling them stacked? I'm confused.
Oh, okay. So what it is that you have, this is 4 stories in reality here. There's a 4th story up here. So you have a townhouse at the lower level, and then you have a townhouse on the upper level. So there's
Who's the builder?
there's 2. This was John Westrom Development. He's out of Philadelphia, so you might not know him. We've done this type of product before for Beazer as well. We're doing one right now for Toll Brothers. It's a good way to get some more density.
Yeah, 2/2s,
Yeah.
it kind of ebbs and flows around here, but that's a little different style architecture for a stacked condo, stacked town than I'm used to seeing. So I like
agree. I like it too, Jude. I think they did a nice job with that. The details, I didn't know if it was an actual 2/2 looking at the architecture.
Oh,
Do you do any elevators in them?
we have not to date. That hasn't been a real question. So this is in Bully Rock, single family for Clark Turner a few years back. We did, I don't know, I really liked working with Clark Turner. I don't know if maybe Judy, if you know Clark Turner, I don't know if he bought any land from you or not, but he.
They're members. I don't know him personally, but.
Oh, okay, yeah. He was a past president in BIA, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what Kim, we were talking about Carroll's Creek on that Wall Chapel site. This is on the other side of the east side of Wall Chapel Road. And again, that was developed, it was finished up by Pulte. I forget who started it actually. Who started with. Just a little example. We do work in Florida. We have a Florida division. This is just a hand sketch we did of some single family housing down in Florida recently. So as you're aware, this is the product that I think is really a good for the 55 plus segment. We put in for an award, but Beazer builds a lot of these, but I've done it for a lot of other smaller builders and other national builders. And basically, we call it our mansion concept. The idea is it looks like a large manor house. Again, it's terrific for 55 plus. It's all 2-bedroom, 2-bath units. Everybody gets most people get a garage. Sometimes we build garages to the outside as well. I'm sorry.
The elevators in there as well, does it not?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. It's an elevator building.
Hillary's
so it's
question of the other one. Yes, would be the elevator.
So yeah, so each garage has access to an internal corridor, and you can go up to your elevator to your unit. It provides that lock and leave lifestyle people are looking for. Low maintenance and aging in place. So, and like I said, they're all 2-bedroom, 2-bath units. And what's really interesting is what we're looking at is when you look at that segment of people, 55 plus, what's different from 20 years ago is that at this point, I think like about 32% are generally singles. We call them solo agers. So, you're not just designing for, typical, doing master down townhomes or master down singles. You've got a lot of people that are on their own. So the 2-bedroom, 2-bath design makes a lot of sense for them. A lot of times they may have a guest, or if they want to, sometimes 2 people will buy it together. Often we see in projects, people come in, they may have an adult child with some disability that they're taking care of, or even an elderly parent, so that split master design really makes a lot of sense. So I really feel like this is a type of project that, that there's a lot of need for it. The big issue is that, when you start doing this in some suburban areas, you have to deal with some zoning codes. So, it's harder to get this project in. But I think it's a really good type of project to do around, like when you look at like the town center designs and you have these apartments, high density right there. If you were able to find some lots around there and build this type of product, I think it'd be a real winner. I think a lot of builders could do well with it.
What's the footprint of that building? Dimensions?
It's 160 wide by, I think, 105 deep.
And 16 units altogether?
Oh, this actually is 27 units.
20, okay.
27, 4 stories. We also, and actually, if you look at this is the same type of design. It's our manor, but it's at a 3-story, but it's got the same individual garages. It's basically the same layout, just changed a little differently.
Are there any living units on the ground floor? Or is it all garages?
Yes. No, there's living units.
Okay.
Generally on the back. This one, like you could see, there's a living unit here, and there's 2 in the back middle. It just
Okay.
depends on the way the layout is. You can have all garages. You could do this at 26 units and 26 garages if you want. We've done that also. So yeah, it's real. Again,
For amenity, when you're doing that
Oh,
with
sure.
the age-restricted condos, are the amenities then in just in a set-aside clubhouse, common area like that? Or you,
Go ahead. No, it depends on the size of the project. I mean, if you're building 4 or 5 of these buildings, you generally do have a clubhouse. We have sites where you do 2 of them, and a lot of times the surrounding community is your amenity.
Okay.
It's next to a shopping center or whatever. So it kind of depends. And we've done it. We've put some amenities in a couple of projects, and like we may take like underneath this this is the D unit out front. We may do something underneath there in lieu of garages, but that's not typical at all. That's typically not done on these projects.
Okay. And are the stairs an open breezeway?
No,
Right.
no. They're
Okay.
inside the unit. I could,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I'm looking on
wanna
a
see a
phone,
little
so my
more?
picture's kind of small.
Well, you know what I'll do? I can send you, I did a presentation on it. I can send you some nice drawings and elevations to, if you want to understand the product a little more.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to see that because, we're always trying to figure out what the right age-restricted product is, and then we got to find the right builder.
Mhm.
But that'd be helpful.
True. Yeah. Yeah, no, that'd be great. I'll send that to you. So just some examples, some single family where this is for Coke Homes in Gibson's Grant. Again, this is another one, that product we were talking about. This is a little older, called Central Park of Victoria Falls. Slanker had developed it. And it's part of it's part of a larger active adult community. You can kind of see some singles out there, but we created the center courtyard area. There's actually 4 of these in a row on either side, and then the clubhouse is at the head of it at the entry. And this, again, we were looking at a particular style, and kind of try to do a Victorian style. And one of the things we've discovered is, using bright colors is very helpful as well. Especially like in those large clubhouses where they're 1 story and the roof is about 2/3 of the height of the building. You put some of these bold colors in, and it really draws your eye to it. It really helps the way that looks. This is just an office building. This was actually Clark Turner's office. He had developed with us. Again, we do, other town. This is a larger town center project we designed for Greenberg Gibbons, Annapolis Town Center. I'm sure you're familiar with. And we designed and did the construction for the high rise for Sturbridge Homes. Developed this building here. So let me see.
That's
And
what I was
again,
talking
going back
about,
to-
the beacon.
Going back to Wall Chapel, yeah, the beacon. That's what it's called. Yeah. So
that's
here's the
what I
Wall
was trying to
Chapel.
remember.
Bizzuto developed this apartment. This was all surface parking. It was basically like there's an interior courtyard here that you can walk around behind the back of the clubhouse and through. What do we do? So here's the site plan for the Wall Chapel. Obviously, the Carroll's Creek is right over here. The one we were just looking at is right here, the beacon at the back. Here's the shop center, and then the right here is the Monarch, which is now open. So this is another project, same type of thing where we had a large retail center, and they wanted to go in. We're going to put some apartments in. We're going to redo the main street, create a main street within the center. This is in Delaware. Right now, we're just in construction documents for this project. There's a little more of a, and then if you're familiar, Beazer developed the Bluffs at Quarry Lake. We did the master plan, but there's a whole retail component to it. We did some of that mansion product that you just saw, the Highlands, that we were talking a lot about, and this was on the other side of the quarry. where this was, again, this was units over parking, so it was a basement garage. It was 4 stories. There were some areas that were 3 stories, the way the grading worked. And there's the clubhouse for the project. So I know we're at 12:30. I don't know if you want to talk for a couple of minutes or you want to have any questions, or I don't want to mess anybody up here. Again, this is another project we did in Baltimore called McHenry Row for Mark Saperstein. Once you go through the McHenry Tunnel going south, just as you get through the tunnel, it's right there on the right. Again, we created the main street. There's 6 stories of units over retail with the parking garage behind. There was an office, 6-story office building. Actually, I think it was 5 stories. There was a 6-story office building, and then there was some other. There was a grocer around the back. He is currently doing a second phase of this project. So just another. We had done some planning for Milford Village, Bowie, Maryland. I don't know what we were doing it for.
St. John?
John's Properties.
St. John's, yeah. At St. John, yeah. We had put together a whole pattern book and we came and designed this. I don't know what's happened since. I know I tried calling him a couple of years. I don't know what's going on with the project, to be honest with you. I guess I should follow up myself.
I think it ended up in court or something.
Yeah.
And
No,
Okay.
they've got the residential approvals. They've opened up some age restricted, and I think they were going to break ground this year on some market rate apartments on a couple different projects within, because they've got a couple thousand units approved in there. Towns or market rate condos yet.
Yeah. Dan and I drove through that about 6 months ago, Jim.
Okay. This is one of our newer projects that got completed last year, called the Remy in Prince George's County, right on the purple line. Trying to remember who. Kim, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting.
We did it with Berman Enterprises.
Berman, that's right, Berman Enterprises, yeah. So,
Who was the general contractor on that?
Oh.
Was that Harkin?
I don't remember. No, it wasn't Harkin.
Okay.
Didn't Berman? I thought he was. I thought he was the general contractor.
Yeah.
Okay, could have been.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see here, like in the, I don't really have a plan of it, but you can see that here's the clubhouse feature. It's 2 stories. Here's an interior of it. And again, it's creating a large space and then subdividing that space into a little more personal spaces is kind of the way it's going. It was also, we had a really nice rooftop amenity as well on the project. And I thought this was good. It's a little older. It's some retail. I thought it was a really, really nice design. I like the way we use the colors in this. It was just a small retail and some residential.
So how
project.
are we on time, Chris and everyone? Let's read.
It's a little after 2:30. And Turf Valley is a fairly recent one too. Again, these were units over parking on one side of the parkway, and then the other side is the retail center. Again, similar to the other retail centers, creating that Main Street effect and creating within there little pockets of amenity areas for people to gather and the restaurants to play off of. And then wrap up with Laurel Town Center, which I guess Hillary had mentioned. So I put an image of that. So those are the images of stuff we've been doing. Right now we're doing a lot of work with apartment projects. We have a South Florida division, and we're actually getting a lot of work down through there right now. We've been bringing that back to life. So, it's keeping busy.
Hillary, I have some great video also on that College Square project that is includes the residential with it, and also something that was fairly recent for us was also redevelopment of the Granite Mall Run in Media, Pennsylvania, which is now the Promenade at Granite Run. So that was also a redeveloped mall and adding residential to it. In fact, I think we're going to be moving on to phase 2 of the residential soon. So if you'd like, I
Yeah,
can
it's
send
been a
you
little slow.
little videos.
Great. Well, thank you very much. It was very interesting.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you
you're
for
welcome.
attending.
Yeah, thank you,
You-
Kim.
you as
and
well.
Taylor. Great job.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I'll send you some information on that project, the mansion.
Appreciate it.
Great. Okay.
Thank you
Sounds
all.
good.